Okay, there we go. So you should be able to see just the name of our program. So first of all, I am Manijeh Badiee, and I am the director of the program. I'm excited to have y'all with us today, and I'm going to give you an overview of our program. The name of it, as you can see on this title slide, is the Masters of Science in Clinical Counseling. So when you apply, if you do decide to apply to our program, make sure that you're choosing the correct program, because there is a Masters of Science in Counseling as well, which is in a different college. Like, we're in psychology, but the counseling one is in the College of Education. So you can definitely apply to both too, but just make sure like you don't apply to the wrong one. And feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. So the main objectives of today are going to be to first like introduce the program as a whole and our goals, talk about who we are as faculty that serve you in this program, talk about what this program prepares you for, and also just a description of the requirements while you're in the program. And then finally, we'll close with application information. So first of all, what is this program? What is our intent in terms of what we expect from our students and what our students are prepared to do? So we are a program that is 60 to 68 units. Typically, it's done in 2 years. It's occasionally people take longer because they take a leave of absence or because of a thesis or something like that. But it's going to be 60 to 68 units. And the reason there's a difference is because I'll get to it later, but we have 2 tracks. We have a comps exam track and a thesis track. And so if you do the thesis track, then you have 68 units. If you do the comps track, you have 60 units. That's why there's that difference. But I'll talk more about those tracks when I get to that part. So the program is a 60 to 68 units. It's 2 years, so 4 semesters, and you are going to, in our program, get practical skills in counseling, and you're going to develop that through doing therapy, but being supervised in that process of doing therapy, as well as you're through like learning the basic knowledge that you need in order to become a therapist. So specifically, our program aims to provide intensive development of clinical counseling skills, as well as one of the things I love about our program is we have a diverse group of faculty. So you get exposed to different types of ways to approach therapy, which is really cool, because some places have like maybe one approach or 1 or 2, but we really have faculty that have different approaches here. And also what our program prepares you to do is become licensed as a marriage and family therapist in the state of California. So we do satisfy what you need in terms of your education to become a marriage and family therapist in the state of California. And for people who are interested in doctoral programs in clinical counseling, clinical psychology or counseling psychology, we do offer preparation for doctoral programs as well. That's something that you would seek out because not everybody is interested in that. So you would seek out mentors and make sure that you have that help. But that support is definitely in the program if you want it. So those are our goals. These are our faculty. So in the photo shows the order they're in, but basically to the left, we'll start with the very left. We have Dr. David Chavez, and he is actually what's called FERP. He's in his FERP phase so that's a faculty early retirement program. So he's like kind of working half-time basically, but he's still around and he still teaches some of the graduate courses, but he is in that FERP status. So he's not full-time right now. So that's Dr. Chavez. Next to him is Dr. Maria Santos. She's one of our full-time faculty. And then Dr. Stacy Forsino, she actually is the director of the community clinical counseling center, which is the place where if you get accepted to our program, you would see clients your first year. So she directs that center. And next to her is me, Manijeh Badiee, and I'm the director of the program. And then next to me is Dr. Jacob Jones, who's also a faculty in the program full-time. And then Dr. Michael Lewin, who is also in the FERP process. So he's also working basically half-time because he's retiring. So what do I mean when I say the program prepares you to be a marriage and family therapist in the state of California? Well, the state of California has certain types of licenses that it says can do therapy at the master's level. So there is like the licensed marriage and family therapist, which is the one that we prepare you for. There's licensed professional clinical counselor, which is LPCC. There's licensed social worker, which is LSW. So depending on your interests, you will, you might apply to multiple programs because maybe your interests fit in multiple ways. But you want to make sure that you're applying to ones that seem like a good fit. What an MFT prepares you to do is you can see kids, you can see teens, you can see families, couples. So you'll get that experience with like families and the couple unit. Licensed professional clinical counselor, depending on the program, sometimes those are more focused on individual therapy and more focused on like adults. Sometimes those are in school settings, depending on the program. But it's not necessarily family therapy and couples therapy that you would be skilled in. So if you think you're interested, if you know you're interested in like working with families, working with kids, and outside of a school setting, then MFT might be a good fit for you, or teenagers. And in California, in order to become an MFT, the California says that you have to complete a qualifying master's degree. So we are a degree that provides that training. And there are other programs, there's other CSUs, obviously like lots of programs around California that provide that. And you also have to get 3,000 hours of supervised work experience. So basically that's working at doing therapy, doing the administrative stuff that you have to do with therapy. And then also to become a licensed marriage and family therapist, you have to pass the licensing exam. And that's important because I'll get back to it, because if you are wanting to if you're wanting to become a therapist in California, which is what most of our students want to do, then we recommend the COMPS exam track, just because it prepares you for the licensing exam. And we have a really great pass rate for the licensing exam. It's actually 100%. So it's a really good pass rate. So remember I was saying like one of our goals, if people want it, is to prepare for a doctoral program. So if that's something that you would like, basically what our program can provide is you can gain the experience that's valuable for getting a PhD, like the clinical experience, the research experience. And also you're encouraged, if you want to get a PhD, to consider the thesis track instead of the COMPS exam track, especially if you want to get your doctorate pretty close to after your master's. Then we recommend going to the thesis track. Now, if someone wants to get a doctorate like 10 years down the line, then probably COMPS exam is still best because it helps you practice right away. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, I'll just keep going then. So these are the classes that you take while you're in the program. There's not going to be a quiz on this or anything. I know it's a lot of text up here, but just so you have an idea of like the classes you're going to be taking. So you have community and mental health, community disaster trauma and resilience, professional ethics and law, multicultural counseling, neuropharmacology of psychiatric disorders, advanced research methods, advanced developmental psychology, psychopathology, which is like abnormal psychology, family processes, marriage and family therapy skills 1 and 2, child therapy, theories of counseling, and clinical assessment, your practicum courses as well. You have one in the first year and then one in the second year. What makes San Bernardino unique compared to other schools in this field? Well, we have a really small cohort, so we accept about 12, so we end up giving a lot of personal attention to our cohort, and you go through your classes with the same cohort, which is a really nice model that's very supportive. Also, you see clients your first year, so that's pretty unique. A lot of programs, you don't see clients till your second year. And the reason that that benefits you is because your second year, you actually go out in the community and you apply for sites. And we have lots of sites for you to choose from, but you can also find your own site. But basically, you go out in the community, find your site, and you have much better chance. You are very competitive for those sites because of the fact that you have already been seeing clients for about 6-7 months. So like, whereas most people that are starting have not seen clients at all. So so it makes people really competitive for the sites that they apply to the second year. And a lot of people, if they like that second year site, they'll work it out to where they can stay at the site. And some sites can do that, some sites can't, but some people will do that. So great. Yeah, so those are a couple things, and I think our faculty is really strong. So you're very welcome. And our faculty is also, we're very close knit, and we really support each other. So we also really care about mentoring and support students as well. Oops, I skipped accidentally. So those were the classes I just showed you, were the classes everybody has to take. Now these are the classes that vary depending on if you're on the thesis track or the comps exam track. So the thesis track, you do have to take an independent study. This is when you're going to be working on your thesis. And you also have to take a statistics course. Depending on which one fits for your thesis, you'll have to take a statistics course. And then you'll take a thesis course. That's the semester that you are going to be defending your thesis. So those are like, that's like another independent study, essentially. For the comps exam, you do directed readings, which is also like an independent study for the comps exam. And then the semester that you actually take the comps exam, you take the comps exam unit. So basically, there's a slight difference in the number of courses. The main difference, honestly, is the stats course. That's the only formal course that's added. The other ones are independent studies. The other difference with thesis is you have to start early. Like, we encourage you to start not studying, but start working on your thesis your first semester. Whereas comps exam, people start studying their second year. So, third semester versus first semester. And what's an optional course if people are interested in learning to teach? There's a course we have called Teaching of Psychology as well, but that's optional if people are interested in taking it. So what about, I told you about the classes, but what about the clinical experience? So remember how I said in year one, you will actually see clients. So this is the details about that. So you're going to see clients your first year in our community counseling center. And so you will all be seeing clients in the same place. And it's actually here in the SB building on campus. And it's like kind of separated because it's a locked area. And you will be supervised by one of the faculty in our program. So there's three supervisors, including myself. And so you will get to submit your preferences, and you'll be supervised by one of the three faculty. We have different specialties, and you'll carry a caseload at most 2 to 3 clients. The first semester, you will have 1 client. The second semester, you'll add a second client, and sometimes a third client, but the max you would have your first year is 3 clients. So that's your first year. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
You say that you have supervised therapy. How does that supervision look like? Are you like sitting with like right next to us, type of thing, or
no, not sitting next to you, but you tape your sessions.
Okay.
And so basically, you come to supervision. There's 4 students in this. Typically, there's 4 supervisees because 3 supervisors, 12. We have 12 students. So there's 4 students to 1 team, 4 supervisees to 1 team. And you have about almost 3 hours. And so you divide that time. So it's really great because you get advice from your peers as well, feedback from your peers as well as your supervisor, and you bring in tape. So you bring in tape, 10 to 15 minutes of recording of your session and say, hey, this is something I want feedback on. Here's some questions I have. Here's something I think I did well. So that's really the what you do in that supervision time. Now, the second year when you go to your sites, it varies because it depends really on the site, but that's how it is the first year and then everyone's going to look the same. Yes.
And what is the practical experience? What do they count for? Like, do you need a certain hours to apply, or is it just 100%?
Yes. So the question is, what is the practicum requirement? By the time you graduate with your degree, you should have 225 direct contact hours. That's a California law, says that you have to have 225 direct contact hours. But that starts in your first year. So it does help that you are starting to see clients in your first year. And then your second year, you're going to be at your site a lot more. So you actually will, you'll actually have a lot of, most of your hours will be from your second year. Because the first year is just the 2 to 3 clients. So you won't have a ton. So the second year here, you actually go out in the community and you do an experience there. So it's like a job interview. You apply, you interview. And this one is going to be longer. So the other one was 2 to 3 hours per week, plus your about 3 hours of supervision, right? And maybe a couple hours for documentation. So we're talking about maybe about 10 hours overall. But this one's 20 hours a week. So second year is you're at your site, you're still taking classes full time, but now you are also at your site for 20 hours a week. So that's up to 13 face-to-face contact hours also. So not all of those are going to be doing therapy. Like 7 of those are going to be doing paperwork and other things, supervision, other things that you need to get done. And you'll be supervised by someone at your site. So you will be supervised by someone there. And some of the recent placements that students have been at are San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Desert Mountain Children's Center, Chaffey College, Fontana Unified School District. So we have a lot of variety of sites that our students go to, but we are really respected. Our students are, and our program's very respected in the community. So our students tend to be competitive for getting the sites of their choice, and they often will get their first or second choice. So moving forward, talking a little bit more about the thesis option. So the thesis option is when you are completing a research project independently with the mentorship of a faculty member that has expertise in your area. So together you would choose the topic. You wouldn't be on your own doing this. And again, thesis option is a great choice for people who are wanting to go to doctoral programs fairly soon after they graduate, or they want to conduct research as part of their career, because it gives you a good chance to do an independent research project and see it through from start to finish. The comps exam, on the other hand, is designed to be similar in the format, and all the questions are modeled after the California MFT licensing exam. You take this in the spring of your second year, and it's a great option if you want to practice pretty soon after you graduate as an MFT in California. So again, that COPS exam, we feel really proud of how much it prepares our students, because we do have 100% pass rate when it comes to the MFT licensing exam. CSUSB, our program, has a 100% pass rate, which is not usual. So now we're flipping to the application part. So how can you prepare to apply? Well, we have some courses you have to take before you are allowed to start, but we really recommend you take them before you apply, because all of those courses, your grades on those courses are evaluated as part of your application. So if something's missing, that just means we have less information about you. And if you do have something missing, you have to take it before you start. So like, let's say you're missing abnormal psychology, and you didn't take it in the fall, you didn't take it in the spring, you're going to have to take it in the summer before you start the program if you were admitted. So the prerequisite courses that we, again, require before starting the program and preferably before applying are Psych 1100, Intro to Psychology, Psych 210. These are the numbers for CSUSB, but the numbers will vary for in other campuses, obviously. Psychological Statistics, as well as Intro to Experimental Psychology. And then you have a choice of taking either Personality Psychology or Introduction to Psychotherapy. I recommend Intro to Psychotherapy if you can, just because that's more relevant to obviously therapy. And then Abnormal Psychology. So those are the prerequisite courses that you have to take before you start the program. Now, here are the courses we recommend that you take because they are helpful for you. So one is Behavior Modification, Principles and Applications, and then Psychopathology of Childhood. So that's like the abnormal psychology, but for children specifically. We have Advanced Clinical Seminar, which is the 4422. So this is, if you're a major in psychology, at least at CSUSB, you have to take a final seminar course. So I encourage you to take that one, the 4422 for your seminar course. And then we also recommend Experimental Clinical Psychology. So that's another one you can take as your final course. It's a research-oriented course. And then I also recommend, I teach the internship course. And in this course, you get to do mental health care in the community as a peer support specialist. So that's also one that's recommended that can help improve your application. So some characteristics of successful applicants are that you have some kind of experience helping people. So something clinical related, like maybe you, like not necessarily like, maybe doing construction, for example, like maybe, doing tutoring or, providing some kind of support to people, sexual assault crisis center, those kinds of things. We want to know that you have some experience helping people because that's what you're going to be doing for your career. So it's really important to get some kind of clinical experience. And most people honestly get that through volunteering. Some people do get that through work if you're lucky, but like some people apply and become behavior analysts or do applied behavior analysis. And so that's a way to do some kind of therapy without having a graduate degree. But a lot of people get this through volunteering. And I can send like anybody that's interested, you can email me and I can send you like a website if you need a way to look for volunteer opportunities. Also, one thing that helps your application is having research experience, just because like when you work with someone with research, like a faculty member, they can write you a stronger letter because they get to know you more and you get exposure to another area of psychology. So it helps with your letters and it helps with your application as well. GPA range, we typically admit between 3.2 and 4.0. If you think that your grades are not a good reflection of your abilities, just explain it briefly in your personal statement. And we obviously strong letters of recommendation. What is a strong letter of recommendation? A detailed letter of recommendation. We recommend 2 from faculty, 1 from somebody, some kind of supervisor, preferably someone that supervised you helping people. But the more detail a letter has, the stronger of a letter it is. And you also have to write what's called a personal statement. I will say it sounds simple because it's 1 to 2 single space pages, but it's actually one of the hardest things I think I still to this day I wrote. I think mine went through like 12 versions because like, how do you summarize so many things in, this small space? So I wanted to give some advice for that. So get it done early, get your personal statement done early, like months earlier than your applications are due, so you can get feedback from multiple sources. Go to the CSUSB Career Center for feedback. Also, the Writing Center here on campus could give you good feedback. And what I say, like, I think you have to have a balance in your personal statement. I kind of frame it as past, present, future. You want to talk about the past as in like, what led you to want to get this degree? You know, maybe it was like your own experience. Maybe it was watching someone else suffer from something, or a class, or whatever it was, you know, the personal reasons you got in the past. The present is, what have you done as an undergraduate and beyond to prepare? The future is, what are your goals? Because obviously we want to know that your goals are compatible with what we can provide to you. So you do want to balance those things, talking about yourself and your, you know, we want to know you a bit, but also balance that with talking about your own experiences as well as your aspirations or goals. And application wise, logistically, it is a two-step process. You have to apply to the university first. So the application deadline for our program is February 1st. We recommend starting your application for the university earlier than that, just in case there's anything wrong or anything missing. It won't have any issues getting to us. But first you have to apply to CSUSB graduate studies first, through CSU Apply. Cal State Apply. So you have to start your application there. There is a $70 fee to apply to the university. It's possible that can be waived if you contact them. We recommend students apply to the university at least 1 month in advance of the application deadline. Also, make sure that you send an unofficial copy of transcripts from each college and university you have attended to the graduate admissions office. It doesn't matter if you got a degree or not. If you took one class, you still have to send it. We need all of those records. If you're a CSUSB student, you don't necessarily need to request that transcript, because we have those on record. But if you're not a current US student or graduate of CSUSB, then you will have to request official transcripts eventually, but that would be once you're admitted to the program. So unofficial ones are fine for the admissions process. And then the second process is that you apply to the actual program, our actual program. So one is the CSUSB University overall, and then you apply to specifically the Department of Psychology and our specific program. And that's all done on the Cal State Apply website. So for that application, you will need you'll need to have your copy of unofficial transcripts again. And then also there's a brief information form that you need to fill out, as well as a statement of purpose, like I was mentioning, the 1 to 2 page single space type description of your preparation, goals, and professional aspirations. And then 3 strong letters of recommendation, again, 2 from faculty instructors who can speak to your academic abilities and your promise, and then 1 from a supervisor. And when you put I recommend asking your letter writers at least 3 weeks in advance if they're able to write you a strong letter. And then once they agree, you can put their email address in, and the email will go to them, and they'll just fill out the email. They'll complete the letter via email. So it's all done electronically. So the question in the chat is, we apply to the grad program despite we are already attending San Bernardino. Yes, absolutely. You don't just automatically get admitted if you're a CSUSB student. You would definitely have to go through all these steps. The only thing that you don't have to do if you're a CSUSB student is you don't have to get the transcripts from CSUSB. Everything else is the same. This is a whole separate program. So you pretty much have to apply separately. Oops. So I also included here the website if you want to find additional information, and feel free to contact me or any of the faculty. Like if you go to our program page, and you can get to it by just Googling like CSUSB MS Clinical Counseling as well. And you'll see our faculty and our email, and they're all up there. They're all public, and feel free to email me or any of the faculty if you have any questions. I really appreciate y'all being here. The one last thing I would say is I wouldn't just apply to our program, because we are a competitive program. We get about like anywhere from 140 to 200 applications. And so that I don't say that to discourage anyone from applying. I think definitely apply, but I just say that because I don't want you to expect to get in and only apply to ours, and then like it's very disappointing. And now you have a little bit of a setback, because if you had applied to other ones, maybe you could have started when you wanted to start. So, so I just say that just to kind of manage expectations, but I hope that you still apply. So I'm getting another question in the chat. If we haven't been in school in a long time, could we submit letters of rec from supervisors, etc.? Yes, but I do recommend, if you're able to get, when we have someone who hasn't been in school a while, we are more flexible about that. But if you're able to take a class, like even online or something, you know, maybe just get one from someone who knows you recently academically, I would recommend that. So yes, you can submit letters from supervisors, but I would recommend, if you haven't been in school a while, still to try to get at least one from an instructor. The price per unit for the program, it's not really done per unit. Basically, it's done by graduate. Well, here, let me close this, and I'll show you how to get to that information. So I'm gonna share my screen again. And basically, I just get there by going to CSUSB graduate tuition here. And usually it'll be not the MBA program, but here, tuition fees for 2023 to 24. So it doesn't list them for next year yet. But basically, like you can see here for post-bac student, this is the charge per semester for this year. You will be taking more than 6 units. So for fall, the tuition is for a resident student is almost about 5,000 each semester. So that's what it was this year. It usually stays about the same. So that's the graduate tuition. It includes the tuition fees as well as the campus charges that you have to do. So I usually just Google, you know, CSUSB graduate tuition, and that comes right up. Yes, and I'm at the end. So what other questions do y'all have? Or did you get them answered? Yes, go ahead.
If we apply for the program, you said that there's about 140 applicants, but you only have about 12.
Yes.
And then are all the other programs kind of on the same, you know, where you get, because I'm wondering if I apply to, let's say, a COPA program and then I don't get into any of the programs, what are the options? Just kind of wait it out until the next year and then do it all over again until I do get in?
They're not as competitive. Ours is especially competitive, and we have a small number of slots. So generally, programs are not as competitive as ours. So I think as long as you apply to maybe like 3 or 4, if you're able to do so, I think, you know, you should be in a decent position. Let me show y'all something. So you can see what programs qualify for being a MFT, and then I'll get to the question. And I know there's a question in the chat, but
that was also our question. Like, if we want to be in
yeah.
license,
Yes.
like,
So just give me 1 second. So California Board of Behavioral Sciences is what I'm Googling right now, and I'm doing MFT. So the Board of Behavioral Science is the California body, the government body that determines, you know, what's required for different therapists, master's level therapists. So schools, so I got to here and then I clicked schools with MFT programs, and then you can see all the schools in California that have programs that are qualified by the state. So if you just click on, like, I always recommend the CSUs just because it's more affordable. So if you click on CSUs, look, there are all these programs that have MFT preparation here. So there's like the local ones are like Fullerton, I believe, has one. Let's see. So there's like Northridge, there's Long Beach, Fullerton. Yeah, it's Fullerton one. So that can help you like make sure that, you know, start your list at least of different programs that you could be interested in applying to. So let's see. Then the other question in the chat is, if you're currently undergrad in psych, then you have to apply for the grad level. Yes, that's correct, because again, our program is very competitive, so everybody has to apply. And so it's you have to do all of the things that I mentioned in the application process. And the only thing you don't have to do is you don't have to order your CSUSB transcripts, but you have to do the personal statement, you have to do the letters, you have to do the transcripts from any other schools. So all of that, and you will still be evaluated with, this pool of applicants. So yes, you have to apply, and it's not an automatic acceptance at all. Is there a difference in how applicants are prioritized? I'm not sure what you mean. Can you clarify that? And then there's a question, while you do that, there's a question in here as well. Yes.
What type of other undergrad degrees are you expecting?
We accept other majors as long as you have the prerequisites.
You have to have all of them. You couldn't be able to complete the program.
No, you'd have to complete them before you start in the fall. So you apply February 1st, and you would be admitted for the following fall if you get admitted. And then after that, then you would have to take it before you start in the fall, or you basically wouldn't be allowed to start.
Are your prerequisites similar to the other CSUs?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, they should be similar. I'm not sure if you mean, is there a difference in how applicants are prioritized? I did share with y'all, I can share it again, my screen where it, in the info session where I mentioned, the things that we look for in successful applicants. So I can share it again. So we really look at all those characteristics, and we look at those as a whole. So those are the characteristics of successful applicants here on the screen. So the clinical work experience, research experience, GPA range 3.2 to 4.0, strong letters, and well-written personal statements. So we look at them as a whole. So that's how we go through that. So yes, you should apply. The question is, we should have applied by January to make sure you're good to go. Yeah, so I suggest if you're interested in the program for next fall 2024, then I would start getting your personal statement together now and your materials now, but definitely start your university application by January 1st. Yes. Try to submit it by January 1st. It's a month before. Any other questions?
So when you show the requirements for the MFB, you said that you have to have 3,000 clinical hours prior to apply to the exam. Do you have to have the 3,000 prior to the exam to take the exam?
No, you don't have to. The question is, do you have to have the 3,000 hours? Do you have to have the 3,000 hours like before you take the exam? No, you have to have the 3,000 hours to get licensed fully in the end. Okay. And you have to have your exam to get licensed too, but you don't have to have all 3,000 hours to take the exam. No, you can take it pretty much when you graduate. Okay. Almost immediately after. Yep. Okay. What are good places to volunteer? So I'll answer that in a second. So another question is, I have a bachelor's completely unrelated to psychology, never took any undergraduate psychology courses. Would an associate's degree in psych help at all with a prerequisite? I mean, the more psych courses you have, the better, because we have more data on you and how well you do in psychology courses, but it's not going to make a huge difference if you have an associate's degree in it or not. So it could be like a bit of a help, but I think, yeah, it could be like one good thing in your application, but it's not going to be a huge deal. The most important thing is to get your prerequisites. So what are good places to volunteer? I'm going to actually pull that up, that website I was telling y'all about, so you can, so if anybody else has that question. So, okay, so you should be able to see my screen here. So I usually just do CSUSB psychology to take us to the psychology webpage, and goes to Department of Psychology. And then we go to students, and then click on internship and volunteer opportunities. and then click on this blue link right here, find volunteer opportunities, push that. And then you can search for them. So like, let's say you're interested in working with adolescents, then you would just do a search and it'll show you different places that are looking for volunteers. And then if you click on it, it'll give you more information about that site. And it'll take you to their website. So that's the best way to look for volunteer opportunities. You just got to look through that list and see what you're interested in. And because I actually helped develop that list because of applicants like yourselves that would like volunteer experience. So so that list should be a good list, but always go to the website for the most up-to-date information. So make sure that you look through their website for their up-to-date information about volunteers. You're very welcome. Are there any other questions? Great questions. I'm glad it's been helpful. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Oh, a quick one. Okay. One more question. Looks like. Does age matter? No. Actually, sometimes, that can be a plus. Sometimes people that are older tend to have more life experience, tend to have more professional experiences and those kinds of things. So yeah, I would say like age age would not be an indicator of a successful applicant necessarily. So yeah, I would encourage people of all ages to apply. Maybe not children, that's all. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Are there any final questions? Will this recording be emailed to us? No, it will not be emailed to you automatically. I don't have y'all's emails actually. So if you want this presentation though, I am gonna put it on like a YouTube link. So if you would like this presentation, just email me and I can send it to you. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.